a game of a mouse and a cat is what we are watching on our televisions right now, where it has to do with the criminals among us. With the revelations of Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, currently the person that's giving the evidence at the Parliament Ad Hoc Committee is the man himself, the guy underground himself, that is Cat Matlala, and he just comes right after another guy who was the go in between, which was Brown Mkhotsi, had just given his evidence. Now, when you analyze the evidence of Brown Mkhotsi and subsequently the evidence of Cat Matlala, it seems it's a game of mathematics that's being played here. And that mathematics is being played to actually throw the other guys under the bus while trying to protect the other guys here. So, which guys are being thrown under the bus? It seems the former Minister of Police, Cele, he's being thrown under the bus because he is old news, while the one being protected here is Senzo Mchunu and his deputy, which is General Sibiya. Of course, Cele, there's no doubt he was deep into these things. There's evidence that's just showing us that he has been going with the Cat Matlala for some time, visiting each other, and in fact, doing each other favors to the point that Cele went to Cat Matlala's penthouse and was spending a lot of time there. So there's no doubt that the previous Ministry of Police was very much deep into this criminality here. And subsequently, when Senzo Mchunu comes, he also takes the ropes because we see him working with Brown Mkhotsi, and the evidence that's there, the WhatsApp messages that they are exchanging between Senzo Mchunu and Brown Mkhotsi and the people like Cat Matlala and the General Sibiya here. Everything shows us that the criminals actually continued in the new administration. However, it seems right now these people understand that we've been caught out and someone has to go down. But they're saying that, well, one that has to go down is the predecessor because the predecessor has no power. Cele has no power. There's no comeback for him. Whereas for the Senzo Mchunu and the Sibiyas could still argue their case. But even though they are so much deep, but in terms of court evidence, it seems they can still argue this one out. So let's look at the evidence of Cat Matlala, also matching it with the evidence of Brown Mkhotsi here.
Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, his evidence to this honorable committee was that following the raid on your house that was on the 6th of December, you took steps through your connections to have the PKTT disbanded, believing that the team that raided your house on the 6th of December was the PKTT. Do you want to comment on that?
I don't know what power would I have for me to disband the unit from the SAPS, because from what I heard from my affidavits that I have from, that thing was planned, I think, way back in 2019.
Now, in the time available, we probably won't get through all the WhatsApp messages. It's been made available to you, the WhatsApps between yourself and Brown.
But remember, I spoke with you about the WhatsApp, that some of them are not, it's not the WhatsApp, they are fabricated.
Yeah.
And I told you about it, and that's why I was saying I wanted to address the chair about that. And at least show you guys, all of you guys, proof now.
Yeah. I received a message from Brown Mkhotsi on 31 December 2024 at 11:32, wherein he wrote the following: outstanding issues. Now this again, today is D-Day. On the other side, I also think you must stand back.
Yes, I see it.
You received that message, you confirm it? I replied back on 31 December at 11:33, indicating I did not know what the text meant. I sent a text saying, "Stand back, question mark. I don't understand. What do you mean?" Then Brown Mkhotsi responded at 11:35 saying, "For your safety and business." And following a further text at 11:37 saying that we must just fight what comes your way. I sent a text at 11:40 saying, "This won't change my contribution towards the minister, though. I made a conscious decision that I'm not backing down. Whatever help this minister needs from my side, I'll be happy to assist. I just want to fight losing." So you confirm those exchanges.
Yes, I do.
Then at paragraph 89, I receive a message from Mkhotsi on 1 January 2025.
Paragraph 39.
Sorry?
89.
Paragraph 89
Yeah.
on page 22. I received a message from Brown Mkhotsi 1 January 2025 at 22:38 regarding the directive issued by the minister for the disbandment of the PKTT. In the message, Brown Mkhotsi told me that the task team that came to my house and bothered me has been disbanded. And we reference this all in your bundle of documents. I responded on the 2nd of July at 7:12 saying, "Oh, really? When did this happen?" He then said, "As we speak now, the dockets have been sent to Sibiya." He also attached a copy of the 31 December directive, and that is also in your bundle at page 22. Then you say, "I did not discuss the matter further. I do not know whether he was referring to the docket that relates to the incident where the police was harassing me or not." So we've tried to summarize this. Now your view on these messages that you receive from Brown, you deal with it from paragraph 94 onwards.
Yes, the purpose of this message is, like I mentioned before, is that Mr. Cele said to me that I must keep on entertaining him. Maybe he will end up leading us to the minister. So I've replied to him and then said what I needed to say to see whether he will end up getting us where Mr. Cele wanted us to get.
So you say at paragraph 94, "My views in relation to the messages received from Brown was that he was trying to be relevant, and it was his attempt to show me that he is really working with Minister Mchunu."
Yes.
And then you say, "At that time, I believed that Brown would share whatever he needed to show me that he was doing something useful. I showed the messages I received from Brown to Minister Cele, including the directive. I kept the messages from Brown based on the advice received from Minister Cele."
Yes.
And you already spoke about that yesterday. You showed it to him at your meeting at the Beverly Hills Hotel in Durban.
Yes.
That was in December.
Yes.
That was before the directive was issued.
Yeah, it was issued on the 31st.
Yeah, but you met with General Cele
Before, yes.
Before that on the
Yes.
20th.
23, yes.
So you again repeat at paragraph 96 that Brown Mkhotsi was trying to be relevant, and he tried to show me he was working with the police and he was trying to disband the unit or something. I cannot speak on his behalf, but that was my thinking.
Yes.
So is it your evidence that you had nothing to do with the decision, or it was obviously not your decision? But you remember earlier on, there was an allegation I read back to you from General Mkhwanazi that you, through your connections, which we've discussed, was instrumental in getting the minister to make a decision to disband PKTT.
Yes, I heard about that.
So you say you had nothing to do with it?
No, I have nothing to do with it.
where you say, this won't change my contribution towards the minister. This is your text to him on the 31st at 11:40. I made a conscious decision to support the minister. What did you mean by that?
Like I'm saying again that I was trying to string him along because they said I must entertain him. So I told him that it's fine, I will help you, because according to him, he said we must send him money, because the money, according to Brown, I'm not saying the minister said that, according to Brown, the money was going to the minister. So Mr. Cele said that it's okay. Tell him what you need to do, tell him, so that we can end up getting to the minister. So I sent him this message.
Because would you agree that certainly this message, what it conveys and what it suggests, is that you were supportive of the minister and that you were supportive of what he was doing or what he had done when he disbanded, or when he directed that the PKTT was disbanded?
Like I said, I was not supportive. And then anyway, I've never even met him. I was just entertaining Brown to what he was saying.
Now, Kat Matlala, he says, well, I did receive the messages from Brown Mkhotsi, and it is true what I was doing, that I was giving money to Senzo Mchunu. I was giving money to Senzo Mchunu through Brown Mkhotsi. But he says, well, I was doing that as an undercover agent. He says there was a time when myself, and Bheki Cele had a meeting, and we talked about Senzo Mchunu and how Senzo Mchunu was going about his work. And he says that between him and Bheki Cele agreed that Kat Matlala has to continue entertaining Brown Mkhotsi, who was sending him messages and asking for money and for this and that, saying that Senzo Mchunu actually sent him and is working with him. But he says, well, I went on to communicate with Brown Mkhotsi and to give Brown Mkhotsi money, because I had an agreement with Bheki Cele to say that I have to continue to do this so that we can flush out Senzo Mchunu and what he was doing. But the question is, why would a person like Kat Matlala play detective? Because he is a tenderpreneur who has to get all these corruption tenders from whoever is in office. So it would not make sense that actually he was doing this for Bheki Cele, who's not in government. Why would Bheki Cele want to flush out Senzo Mchunu when he's not even the police of the day? So Kat Matlala says, no, I was doing this because Bheki Cele directed me to flush out Senzo Mchunu. On the other side, Brown Mkhotsi, however, says that I was working with this Kat Matlala because I was trying to catch him because of the criminality that he was doing whatsoever. But when it tallies together, it shows us that Brown Mkhotsi was receiving money, and it had nothing to do with him catching out Matlala. And it shows us now that his communication with Matlala and his communication with Senzo Mchunu, which Senzo Mchunu admitted, according to the evidence of the WhatsApp messages that they were exchanging with Brown Mkhotsi, admitted that I received these messages. But he tries to play dumb and say, well, some of the messages, I do not know what they mean. But when we hear what Brown Mkhotsi says, and connect it with what Senzo Mchunu says, and connect it with what Kat Matlala is saying, this shows that there was very well coordination between Kat Matlala, Brown Mkhotsi, and Senzo Mchunu, because the monies were paid. And Senzo Mchunu was speaking with Brown Mkhotsi about the cases and the matters that were going. We saw messages of them two exchanging what was happening. So Brown Mkhotsi told us about the illegal mining and how Senzo Mchunu was talking to him about this, but he tried to flip the script. He said, well, Senzo Mchunu was trying to find out whether the police arrested so-and-so, whether the community was trying to do mob justice or something like that. Everything was just being played out to try and confuse the public here. But when you follow it meticulously, you find out that these people are actually working together. They're working together with the Cat Matlalas here. So the story of Cat Matlala is saying, well, I did all these things. I was paying the money. I was doing all this, but I was playing detective. I was trying to flush out Senzo Mchunu because Cele said I should do that. He says, well, I've never met Senzo Mchunu. I've never spoken to him. And when it comes to the other person, which is General Sibiya in this matter, Cat Matlala also works very hard to protect General Sibiya. He tries to distance himself from General Sibiya, and he says, well, I only spoke to General Sibiya on the phone, but at some point he had met seeing him, and he says he met him at an event of his son because his wife went there, invited by a friend of a friend, and he went there to fetch his wife, and he met with General Sibiya there, and they didn't really have much of a chat. And all of this seems, it is a total lie. It is entirely fiction because the evidence says something else. All that we have had so far points to Sibiya working very well with Cat Matlala, and it points to Cat Matlala paying a lot of money towards Senzo Mchunu. We have heard also today from the evidence Cat Matlala admitting the messages that he wrote himself, saying that he wants to further Senzo Mchunu's cause, speaking with Brown Mokgotsi, and he's saying that he wants to help Senzo Mchunu and he doesn't want to fight a losing battle. Of course, fighting a losing battle here, meaning that the cops like the Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi are coming after him, and if he does not pay or does not further Senzo Mchunu's cause to disband the PKTT, he would be fighting a losing battle. But he turns it all around and he says, well, I was just trying to entertain Brown Mokgotsi because Cele told me to do that. He also said, well, I paid Cele a lot of money. I paid him 500,000 here, 300,000 there, and all sorts of things. But he says all of this money was paid through duffel bags, and I took it to him directly. So there's no evidence for that. But we can't speak for Cele because Cele is deep into this. He cannot tell us otherwise because we have seen and he has admitted that he has been going up and down with this Cat Matlala. But he was the outgoing minister. A new minister was coming to take the ropes of criminality and crime in South Africa. That was Senzo Mchunu, and he came and did exactly that. Cat Matlala, it seems he has finished his testimony and is going back to jail to sit there to await his trial. We'll continue to wait and watch what's going on. And Senzo Mchunu, when he comes, we will hear a lot here. But I don't think he would have any more power to sway the story with all the evidence that has been brought here against him, because the story for all of us is very much clear. The previous administration in the Ministry of Police was very much corrupt. The new administration of Senzo Mchunu in the Ministry of Police, very much corrupt and continues. But so far, everything is pointing to all of this corruption happening. Well, this will be the end of this segment. And if you made it to this point, well, thank you very much. Please remember to like and subscribe.